Hello and welcome to a new video. Today we're going to take a look at the newly released Wyrdeer in the Great League. I think that's kind of how you say it, but it's 3 AM in the morning, so maybe I'm wrong with that as well. But it's the greatest time to take a look at this Pokemon. This Pokemon just got released in raids as well for like the day there. It's only available from 2 PM till 5 PM, so definitely make sure to maybe get a shiny of it as well. It's supposed to have a 1 in 10 chance of being shiny, so interesting Pokemon. Let's see what it can do in the in PvP in the Go Battle League. It is 3 AM, so I'm sorry if I commentate a little bit weirdly. But otherwise, this team is going to be actually kind of a fun one, and I definitely like this team quite a bit. We're going to have here in the lead the LilyNiRiain Stunfisk, a Pokemon that I feel like is a very solid Pokemon in general currently, because a lot of people don't really expect this Pokemon anymore. It's kind of underrated. But as a say-so, we're going to have the Girafarig, which has the same typing as the Wyrdeer, but has also coverage for Pokemon that usually get beaten by Steel-type Pokemon, or like in general, like LilyNiRiain Stunfisk, stuff like this, because you're going to have the double kick, which allows you to beat other Steel-type Pokemon, which is going to be nice. But also we're going to have here Thunderbolt, which is going to be very good for like Flying-type Pokemon. So we have a lead that's very good against Steel-type and Flying-type Pokemon, but also our Say-Sop has great coverage against those Pokemon. But honestly, Girafarig was by far also kind of my favorite Pokemon of this team. Just having fast Psychic Fangs is just really wild. And first game here, we're already going to be able to win this game with our LilyNiRiain Stunfisk, kind of showcasing on how strong this Pokemon is again, but we can move on to the next game. How do you gonna get this Pokemon only below 1500 CPs? By the way, you can be very lucky in raids. Like, there are some IV spreads that are below 1500 CP, but as you can see here, my one was traded with my girlfriend, so yeah, it is what it is. It is definitely easier to get that through trades. Here we're going to be able to go ahead and go up against a Credilli with our Girafarig, and look at this matchup, by the way. The opponent is going to make a huge mistake because their shield is Psychic Fangs. Because I already have another one stored, the Girafarig has pretty high attack stat, and we're going to be able to get 2 shields from the opponent, plus I can use my own shield to realign my Pokemon and get some extra energy here as well. Girafarig was so much fun to play. They're going to have a Trevenant in the back here still, which you saw already before, and this one gonna also drop a little bit in their defense. They swap out into a Shadow-type Flosion, which will allow me to still go into my LilyNiRiain Stunfisk, but they can knock me out with a Shadow Blast Burn here. But what I can do is I can still go for Psychic Fangs, do a ton of damage. It does not knock them out, but it's gonna put them into a range where I can go for 1 Confusion with my Wyrdeer, and like this I will be able to just go for the Wild Charge eventually, which will be able to knock out the opponent's Trevenant. The Seed Bomb is not going to do enough damage, the Wild Charge is going to do enough damage, and so Wyrdeer is going to be able to win us this game. Next opponent, let's see, they're going to have a Credilli in the lead. A lot of Credillis, and there's most likely going to be a video tomorrow as well where we're going to use our Credilli as well. So, interesting Pokemon here for sure. We're going to see that the opponent is going to go for the Grass Knot. We can go for the Earthquake, which is going to do a little bit more damage than the Rock side here. They're going to let this move go through, allowing us to swap out onto the Girafarig, getting some extra energy, and we're going to get out the opponent's Gligar. Gligar is going to be a little bit more common now as well this week, I would imagine, because also in the Play Pokemon tournaments, this Pokemon got a little bit more usage, so it would be very wise for a lot of people to use this Pokemon. Again, very decent answer against currently the Charger Bug as well as the Poliwrath. Definitely, again, one of the top tier Flying-type Pokemon kind of went up a little bit. You're going to see that I can actually realign if I wanted to, but I don't really want to, and I let this move go through, and I thought actually that I still would be able to realign, but just didn't really work out. We're going to see that we can farm them down here still, and we can see the Credilli coming back in. We're going to get the opponent kind of low, and what we see as well, the opponent going to swap out into a Skeledirge, allowing us to still go for another charge move here. This is going to be the Rock slide. We're going to be able to get the shield, and we're also going to be able to swap out into our Wyrdeer, and so we can use the shield onto the Disarming Voice. I need 1 more fast move to get to the next charge move, so I can go for 1 more fast move of my own, and this Wild Charge is going to be all it takes to knock them out, and it's going to be the Credilli in the back. Can we still win this game? We can, and we can move on to the next game. Next opponent coming through, let's see what they're going to run. We're going to have here the Komao in the lead, which is going to be kind of okay for us, but we kind of want to swap out because we have 2 Psychic-type Pokemon in the back, and we can go for the Psychic Fangs, getting the shield immediately, which is kind of cool. I can use a shield as well against the opponent, and we are going to be able to get here either the shield or the switch advantage. I'm totally fine with both of them. I will be able to get the shield advantage, which is kind of cool, and now I can wait out the clock a little bit, go into my Wyrdeer, and hopefully farm them all the way down. did not work out quite yet, but they're gonna swap out into the Azumarill. And Wyrdeer is an insane glass cannon. As you're going to see here, this Wild Charge is going to do so much damage, way more than I expected, and we will be able to take this next move from the opponent, but sadly they are running the Hydro Pump, which is not really ideal for us. We're gonna be able to go for the full farm down here, I thought, but no, I have to go for a Rock Slide first. This Rock Slide is going to be able to get the knockout, and they're going to have in the back we're going to see it now. It's going to be the Registeel, and I'm just barely off in terms of the HP that I have to get to the Earthquake. If I did not allow the opponent to get that many bubbles through, I would have actually been able to still win this game here. But like this, we're going to see here the Wyrdeer going for the Wild Charge, doing some decent amount of damage actually. I'm still going to try my best. Maybe the opponent screws up, but they should have a move start on the Kommo-o, and they do. And so they're going to be able to knock me out, and we can move on to the next game. Next opponent coming through, let's see what they're going to run. We're going to have the Galarian Stunfisk against a Dragonair. Honestly, Shadow Dragonair has been everywhere against me. Like, literally, this Pokemon is taking over the open Great League right now. Kinda wants me to play some Shadow Granbull action again. If you haven't seen the video earlier, by the way, about the top underrated Pokemon for the Great League, definitely check it out. Shadow Granbull was also one of them. Definitely a good Pokemon in the current meta to counter those Dragonairs. But here we're going to decide to really counter the Dragonair with a double kick. Girafarig trying to farm them down. They swap out into the Superior, and Girafarig always seems like really weak in the beginning. As you can see here, does basically no damage, but as soon as it kind of gets all the defense drops onto the opponent, we see like the true potential of this Pokemon. As you can see also right now, we can just use a shield and farm them all the way down. There's nothing they can do about it. And also Girafarig is now going to be able to realign, which is really important, as they decide to swap out into a Bastion. This is going to be a little bit of a trickier one. We can go for the Thunderbolt. I decided to swap out immediately because we know it's going to be the Dragonair in the back. And I kind of ended up in a similar scenario anyway. And I will be able to get the shield advantage, which is kind of nice. Or like the shield from the opponent, which is kind of nice. But it's going to be a little bit tricky because it's Wyrdeer. Like, if I'm going to be able to survive a one charge move here with a little bit of health left, we're going to see that here as well. I should be fine with 2 wild charges, but it does way more than I expected. And so Wyrdeer, again, an insane glass cannon. This Pokemon has basically no bulk, but hits crazy hard, and sadly we're just barely going to miss out on the charge move, and this is going to be a good game to the opponent. Next opponent coming through, we're going to have the Deoxys and the Lee. This is going to be a matchup that we can play out. Our Saizops are also kind of okay against it, but I would rather stay in here with my Galarian Stunfisk and trying to just get basically a shield advantage, which would be really cool. We're going to get the first Earthquake off, which is really good for us because we're going to be able to hit this one. Of course, now with the nerfed Earthquake, it's going to be a little bit trickier. Minus 10 damage, I think 2 seasons ago, which kind of dropped the usage of the Galarian Stunfisk by a lot. But as you're going to see as well, we can still survive this Thunderbolt, allowing us to go for the Rock Slide as the opponent swaps out into an Umbreon. One of the worst possible Pokemon that I could imagine to face off right now, because we're going to have only Psychic types in the back. But here again, Girafarig is just like such a crazy strong Pokemon. I kind of want to make maybe a video directly about Girafarig again, where I maybe try it in a different kind of scenario, but here we can see already this Pokemon is just having so much potential. I feel like it's a great save swap in the current meta. And we can just go for the full farm down, have a ton of energy stored. I can go for one charge move here, it's going to be actually shielded up, which is also really cool, allowing me to go for another Psychic Fangs afterwards, which is going to do a ton of damage. And we can swap out into a Galarian Stunfisk as the opponent is going to be able to reach another charge move. The Psycho Boost is coming through. I can swap back into my Girafarig if I want to, and I will do exactly that. After I'm going to have the Dugong in the back, allowing me to go for the Thunderbolt. Super effective damage, and honestly, like, Shadow Girafarig hits insanely hard, allowing our Wyrdeer to just go for the full farm down here against the opponent's Dugong and also against the Deoxys to win the game. 2 very cheap kills here for the Wyrdeer, but let's take a look at the next game and see if this is going to be a little bit better. We're going to have the Girafarig against the Azumarill now. Of course, we're going to have electric type coverage with both of our Pokemon in the back, allowing us to hit those flying type Pokemon as well, but also, of course, the water type Pokemon like Azumarill. We see the swap again into the Dragonair. We see it all the time, but at least I should be able to get the shield here, but also I'm going to be able to get 2 defense drops, which is amazing, as I can now swap into my Wyrdeer to just try to go for the full farm down. They're gonna go for the body slam most likely, which is going to be the better move compared to the awkward tail, and we will see that we can get a ton of energy here, but let's see if this energy is actually coming in clutch. We're gonna see the Arctibex in the back, which is kinda awkward. Stomp is sadly our best charge move. I was really hoping to get body slam on this Pokemon because it still would not be even close to be broken. Like, this Pokemon in general is pretty crappy. I'm not gonna say like this Wyrdeer is going to be the best Pokemon ever. No, it is not. It is not a Pokemon that you need for PvP at all, and it's most likely never going to be. I think it has like some kind of signature move, but it like needs some kind of change towards it. But yeah, right now, definitely not a great Pokemon. Still something they can try to get through the raids, but it is going to be not really ideal to play. Here we're going to be able to still go for the Earthquake, but yeah, debuffed is not really that nice either. And we will see that they can go for the Ice Beam, knocking me out and also kinda knocking out my Wyrdeer. So let's move on to the next game. Fairly great lead, honestly. Like, I wouldn't even say decent, it's a great lead for me. It's going to be the Galarian Stunfisk against the opponent's Alolan Ninetales with Charm, allowing us to get off those rock slides that are hitting for super effective damage. Is just amazing forces. We're going to see it as well. The opponent is already in the red health, as we're going to also have a shield advantage. I can let this next move go through, and I can swap out afterwards into my Giraffe Rig, as the opponent swaps out as well into the Poliwrath. At this point, I would rather be in the matchup for our Wyrdeer, because we're going to do double, like, yeah, just single super effective damage, of course, with our fast move. But here we're still going to be able to spam those Psychic Fangs, which come in clutch as well. As we're going to see just now, we're going to be able to go for the Psychic Fangs, gonna get them low. Sadly, not low enough that they gonna go down from it, but I can, yeah, just go ahead and try to get some energy with my Wyrdeer. And so we have the Bastion in the back, so it's kind of coming down more towards the Galarian Stunfisk. We're gonna see the swap into the opponent's Ninetales, allowing us to get the knockout, and the Bastion is not going to live way longer either. This is a cool thing as well. Again, a lot of people don't really expect the Galarian Stunfisk anymore. I would recommend you to try this Pokemon out if you have it, but let's move on to the second to last game. Let's take a look what they're going to run here. We're going to have a Talonflame in the lead, which is going to be a little bit of a scary Pokemon to face, because as you're going to see, the Incinerate damage is adding up quite a bit. This is going to be a way more difficult matchup in the two-shit scenario now for the Galarian Stunfisk because of the, buff to the Incinerate. But we can still go for a Rock Slide here to get the final shield from the opponent, but they can do exactly the same. They can also get my final shield if they want to, and they do not want to. They're going to catch a move onto the Wish Cast, which is a smart move, but again, let's take a look what our Wyrdeer can do here. We can just stay in here, we can just, go for the confusion, go for the Stomp here against the opponent as well, and we're going to be in a decent spot here for us. Stomp is coming through. It is going to be able to knock out the opponent, but as you can see, the Talonflame is going to knock us out now. They have a ton of energy. I think they have like around 80 energy at this point. So I can go into my Giraffe Rig, but they're most likely going to be able to reach another charge move afterwards. I can stay in for a little bit, but the opponent decides to swap out into their Superior, allowing me to go for Psychic Fangs. But my only play here basically is to hope that I would be able to catch, which was not working out, so I decided to forfeit this one. Final game for today. My voice is kind of dying as well, so we will see the Dragonair here. If you enjoy those early showcases for those Pokemon, feel free to leave a like. Again, like, I stay up till like 4 AM for those. Not really that healthy, but we will see here the Superior swapping onto our Rock Slide, which is amazing. Luckily, we decided to bait. I usually bait against the opponent's Dragonairs, because they're usually fairly squishy. They kind of want to shield up the Earthquakes, and even if they don't, it's still going to do half of the opponent's health, which is kind of nice as well. So here we're going to see the matchup against Superior. I'm going to be able to overfarm by a little bit as well, allowing me to go for a charge move. They can shield if they want to, but they do not want to, and so I can now realign, have a shield disadvantage, but they decide to go into their Skarmory here, and I have, of course, the Thunderbolt. The opponent does not know about it, which really bothers me now, because now I basically wasted a ton of energy and a huge opportunity to win this game already. But the opponent decides to swap out now into their Dragon. I can go for my charge move immediately. It's not an Earthquake, but the opponent does not know, and I can even reach another charge move afterwards, which is going to be amazing, as the final matchup is going to be a very tough one for me. The opponent can go for the full farm down, which makes it a little bit more tricky, but I can go for the Psychic Fangs, which is going to make that way easier for me to now hopefully get a full farm down with my Wyrdeer. I'm going to let this move go through. It's going to be the Aqua Tail, which is even better for me, and I can now see the Skarmory coming in, and it's going to be time to finish up this video with a big boom from the Wyrdeer. Thanks all for watching. If you enjoyed this, feel free to leave a like, subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you then. Bye bye.